Welcome to That's What I'm Saying, the podcast about hip hop, entertainment, dating, sex, relationships, and social issues from a sometimes ratchet, because you know how me and my sister do, but mostly woke perspective. So listen and subscribe to That's What I'm Saying. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can listen to us. Also, watch That's What I'm Saying, the TV show, weekdays on Island TV, or just download the Island TV app. Follow us on Instagram at TwizPod. So I'm Shaun.
And I'm Shatara.
Hey, my sister, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. How are you there, sister?
I'm doing lovely. I'm doing lovely. Look, it's been a while. It's been a while for us.
I
Right?
know. It's like we had a holiday break, but we're back.
We had a hiatus, and now we're going into the new year. We're on the precipice of a new year.
Listen here, so much is going on, juggling. It is cold over here.
I know.
I am on my Nurse Ratchet here. The husband had a hip replacement, and
yes,
my goodness.
we are wishing him a speedy recovery too. Like,
amen. Yeah, he's what the doctor said. You're young, you're vibrant, and I must say, for a surgery, for you to be walking, 6 hours later, I'm impressed. However, it's a lot of care. It's a lot of care going on here. So I'm saying I'm on my Nurse Ratchet.
Nurse Ratchet.
Girl, bye.
Don't do what Nurse Ratchet did. And what was that show?
She was trying. She's like trying to get her brother out of prison or something like that.
It was all crazy between that and it's another nurse show that I told you I wasn't really care for.
Nurse Jackie.
Nurse
with Edie Falco. That was crazy.
She was a heroin addict and a nurse.
Yeah, she was great. She was great at what she did. Her patients loved her. No, I had to, check in, like, how's my bedside manner, sir? Like, what's, how's everything? How are you comfortable? But I'm gonna tell you one thing: for all the jokes about all these pillows we have up in here,
come in handy, huh?
Let me tell you something. All 27 of them. I wish you would have something to say about my home goods pillow. The day of the Geechee's over. Nothing to say. Any room we're in. Well, how many do you need? What do you need to elevate? What do you need?
Perfect.
All those pillows. Perfection.
Perfect. Wow.
Yeah. And
sending him good healing vibes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we need him. I need to I need to hear him running by next week. Because I'm tired.
Well, a lot is going on. So I was up there. I was in New York, New Jersey. I went to Connecticut a couple weeks ago. So, I forget sometimes that I came from the cold. And I'm like, because I live in Florida now, that cold is just another type of cold. I don't know. I'm brand new.
How do you forget it? Now that is acting brand new. How do you forget it?
Definitely. And then I have to think, I used to walk to school in this. How dare you?
You had, what?
With me.
I'm about to say, because we had what they call freaky freezies. Those were the gloves.
Remember those?
Freaky freezies.
Even though my little freaky, I remember one of my freaky freezy gloves. They wouldn't work anymore. Whatever it was, it didn't work. But I love those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so coming up there and being in the cold, it's just a different experience for me. Went to see the tree. I did all the things that a tourist does when they go to New York City. Things that when you're growing up, it's like, who wants to do this stuff?
Take it for granted.
Yeah, but it was fun. But that cold hit like no.
Let me just stop you with the drama. When you were down here, it was not freezing cold. It was to the point where it was like 50 something degrees. Maybe it dropped to 40 at night. It was like, okay, I don't know if I should put away my jackets. And those listening know.
I didn't have that type of confusion. It was
right.
Cold.
I was like, it is not. But let me tell you what it is right now. I just learned that it is going to be 13 degrees tomorrow. 13. You know what I mean? And then going to 10. That is what we're about to get. You were not here for that, ma'am. Okay. And I sit here with icicles on my eyelashes. Mm-hmm. So for you to say it was so cold, it's different. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was shivering. Yeah.
You didn't come for the here comes the pain. You weren't here for it.
I felt like I was. So God bless y'all and to every one of you.
Sending sunshine and some heat. Yeah,
that's right.
We had snow last night. It's snow on the ground.
No. Yeah. Like that. That's just not me no more.
It's real.
Yeah, I don't know, and I feel like my blood has changed, like my body temperature, whatever you want to call it. Like, yes, I overdo it, and I'm real bougie when it comes to the weather. Like I
Okay.
bought, so you saw I bought my Shirley coat. So let me just let everybody know I have a Shirley coat that I've had since I was 12 years old. When our grandfather gave me $250 in cash to go and get this coat from Canal Street, and I had to put it in a garbage bag. 'Cause remember, they was like stealing coats, and I was
Mm.
so nervous. I had to put it in the garbage bag.
Oh.
I literally still have this coat, mind you. I think the last time I wore it was when Obama got inaugurated the first time.
Were you really 12? I thought you were like 14.
No, I was 12. I was really 12.
Wow.
I was 12 years old because I wasn't in high school just yet. I was going to high school. So,
Mm.
oh, I remember. Me and my homegirl Tiffany. She had a red one. I had a black one. Oh, we was it was killing the game. Um, But I will say I have not worn that coat since the inauguration. That's the last time I wore it. And of course, I will never wear that coat here in Florida. So
Take a chance, honey.
I did the honors and I've given it to one of our sisters. I felt so privileged to give her this beautiful Shirley coat.
It's an heirloom now. It's
What did you
pretty
tell me?
much.
I was like, well, I can leave it at your house. He was like, no, it's like leaving a child. Which is
Yeah, I said, you got a stroller for that? Like, what I'm gonna do with it? Are you kidding me? The coats in my closet right now will be like, who that bitch think they? Where that bitch think she going? That's what my coats will say about your coat coming to the closet. Where she? Where do you think she going? It wouldn't work out.
well, luckily, I've rehomed it, and it has a lovely home with our sister.
Wait, then you told me you went through the airport with it. I said,
Oh my
girl,
gosh,
did you get a stroller for it? Did you get a wheelchair for it? Like,
it needed its own seat.
yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
ass coat to just
Oh
be
my god!
walking through the
First of all,
airport.
it's like 30 something pounds. It's a heavy coat,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So I've rehomed it, and I'm really happy about that. So
So
yeah,
worth it. So she needs to put it on ASAP because now is the prime time to have it on. So I'm not even mad. Good for you. That was very charitable of you.
thank you. Yeah, as you said, it's an heirloom. That's right. We can pass this
Hmm.
coat down. That coat is special.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay. So, what are we calling this episode? This is our wrapping. What are we wrapping the year up to? 2024 is
Yeah. This is our last episode of 2024. And we're going to call this episode What Had Happened Was in honor of the Jamie Foxx special that just came out on Netflix. So let's get right to the ratchet.
Go ahead.
Now, we spoke before about this Netflix special he's taping in Atlanta, and allegedly he's telling, what happened with his health and Puffy having all to do with it and all the talks. And we had said we're going to revisit this because when we finally see the special, we'll have our answers. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
So I saw the special. I know you saw the special. I'm a fan of Jamie Foxx, and I did want to know what had happened. I want to know what had happened was. And it wasn't so funny, falling out my seat comedy. It was more of a one-man show, a little theatrical, a little music, a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the article that I was reading, uh, a reporter was saying that Jamie Foxx missed the mark, and that he really should have used his platform to give information to people so that way they can recognize signs of a stroke. And he used the church and God, and I'm listening to this article, not listening, I'm reading this article, I'm thinking like, this just sounds like a white person who doesn't get the black church. That's how I
Okay.
had to read this. Like,
Mm,
what you mean?
well,
Like,
I
and
mean, but you like that part. I mean, I like the special. Jamie Foxx is one of the greatest that ever did it. He's so talented,
yep.
so uber talented.
Hmm.
Um, but it was giving me. Remember Monique's special? It was kind of like where she took the opportunity to come out.
Confessional.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was
Hmm.
more like that. But
Hmm.
I don't feel like Jamie Foxx really confessed anything because he started the story with, I guess he was feeling woozy or whatever it was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I still believe that whether that was a stroke or whatever medical emergency he had, is way more to it. And he joked around and said that Puffy might have drugged him, and however they cut it up, I just don't believe that he even told the real story. And it was a lot of theatrics. I mean, he was crying, and it was poignant. It touched my heart. He's getting up there. He was crying. He had his daughter come up there and do a song, and he took us to church, and a lot of theatrics that went along with it. But I don't believe that he told the real.
You don't believe he told the real world?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I do. I mean, just we know that it was health issues. That's how I look at it. It was health issues. You took a pill. You woke up. You don't know what happened. For the most part, he loves comedy. He loves music. He brought his daughter out. I just feel like, as far as being entertained by an entertainer, I was satisfied. I was like, okay, we don't got to go no deeper. He did say Puffy was on the other end of the tunnel when he was like, it's hot in here, and he thought he died.
Say Puffy was the devil.
He's got the devil. And then he was the same one that said, Holly Berry made him come, dot, 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 to his senses. So he was very, like, working with wordplay. I'm not going to deal with white women, dot, 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 in public. Like, he was very pulling you into the story and then hitting you with a bop. So I thought, like, that was clever. That was good. He, hands down, if you look at him as a singer, a comedian, and an actor, which one are you really, like, there for, as far as, like, where he's a stronger? And I would say it's definitely as an actor.
Okay, I'll give him that. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
He's definitely a very strong. I mean, who was my favorite was Willie Beeman. That was one of my favorites. And when he played Ray Charles, I mean, of course.
I mean, that was like low blow B. Low blow B. That was when she was like, "Who's gonna take care of these kids? And you're a drug addict, Ray." And he was just he hugged his arm. Low blow B. Low blow. Day, that is the funniest to me, and it wasn't even supposed to be funny. So, like you said, good word. He's uber talented. So, however he brings it to us, I appreciate it. I'm just, and I'm rooting for him and his hairline. I'm
Yeah,
rooting for
that hairline needs its own talk show, don't it?
girl. Bye. So I'm like, so I'm supposed to believe, and you know what? I just let it all go. I'm like, good thing he's back. Whatever. He walked his daughter down the aisle. The girl's playing the guitar. It's a lot going on here. Like you said, we don't know if he's chunky underneath that sweatsuit.
Oh my
Leather suit. We don't know what's going on.
I was like, I don't know if he got a six pack or a belly. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
that was, whoever dressed him was excellent thinking. That's how you do it, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It was excellent, and I'm like, and I don't believe, somebody said something like, what happened to that tattoo he had on the side of his head? Remember, he had a tattoo
I
on the
didn't
side of his head.
I vaguely remember, but then I'm like, I don't know if I'm mixing
What,
him
Mike
up with
Mike Tyson?
Right.
No, Jamie Foxx had tattoos on the side of his head, but I'm thinking, like, if your hair grows in, then we just don't see it. That's all.
Could
It's
be.
still there. It could still be there. Anyway.
I believe anything right now when it comes to him. Like, I don't know.
Well, he said, but then he said, they were saying he was cloned, and he was like, "There's only one me." I like how he gave that run through of everything he's done. He's an
Yep.
original, and
He
then they
said,
was like,
except when they said he was dating all them white women.
"White woman." They said that's Jamie, and I'm like, "Oh man." So and then he said something about he's been delivered from white women, and that was even a joke. Saying, "I know what y'all black women saying." So bringing light to that, and kind of connecting with your people, it was just like, that's how you do it. So one of my girlfriends said to me, "Don't try to come home now and be with black women now that you're all, um, uh, bad health and on your worst leg. Now all of a sudden you want to be black women. I'm home. Nah, go ahead." She was like, "Go ahead." She didn't want to hear it. And now that you're out of function, now you want to be loving black women. Nah, go ahead. She wasn't hearing it, so I thought that was funny.
Well, he said I guess he's going to take it inside. He ain't going to have him outside no more.
That's what what I'm like, whatever. You, Eddie Murphy, I mean, everybody, like, y'all, Chris Rock, that's the direction you want to go, then go on. But he knew how to bring it right on to his people when it came to that laughter and support. It was, he brought it to
ATL.
ATL to black folk. You brought it to black folk. You didn't go, you know what I mean, NBC Comedy Central style and fill the audience up with a whole bunch of white folks to be yourself and to bring that humor. You brought it to your people where you feel at home. So that says a lot too. So you had to address the white woman in the room, the white woman in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You had to address that, and it calls for good laughs, whatever. Hope he's well. But soon after, did you hear he got into a fight at Mr. Chow's in Beverly
I
Hills?
heard with the what is it, the staff or the production crew from Jackass.
From Jackass, they throwing glasses, and I'm thinking, like, this is a bad prank because here I am. That's dangerous. Like, Nobody, y'all not throwing like bouncing balls. Y'all are throwing glass in the restaurant. I'm like, damn it, Jamie, what's happening? Yep, and
Lord,
they said he got the right one because he was not fucking around.
too crazy, right? Too crazy. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, now he's on a whole nother what had happened was.
You said what?
I said now he's gonna have to do a whole nother what had happened was. Wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute. Didn't Kevin Hart when he had that whole situation, getting caught cheating, it was videotaped and so on. Didn't he come out with it's kind of like a what had happened was explaining what happened? It
He
was
did, but
funny.
it wasn't like a comedy special. It
No,
was.
it was stand up. Hmm.
Was it? Oh,
Yep.
okay. Oh, it was in his
Hmm.
house. When it was it in his house? It was like supposedly in his living room, in his basement, or something. I think that's what it. That's what.
No, I think you're right, but it was stand up on a stage though.
Yeah, and he had pajamas on. If that's
Um,
the, I
you
don't know,
got me thinking. What was it? But anyway, it was. I want to say his was also called "What Had Happened Was."
something like that. You know, we gotta look at that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he
yeah.
has
So and what's so funny? Martin came out and did the same thing. Run tell that.
until that.
Kind of like using your platform to like let me come and tell these people what's been going on. And that
Hmm.
was before social media.
That sure
So
was. That
isn't
was
that something else? Yeah,
that's
girl.
Martin went crazy on the Pacific Coast Highway.
And he said it. He said I was out there butt naked talking about fight the power in the middle of the street.
Hmm. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Moving on.
Mm. Speaking of cocaine, real quick, remember I was telling you. I'm sorry. Come back in this room real quick. I grabbed your arm. Come on over here. I'm watching the Dark Side of Comedy, Robin Williams story, and I'm a big fan of Robin Williams. God rest him. And he said himself that cocaine is God's way of saying that you make too much money. I thought I'd just share that little bit since you said cocaine's a hell of a drug. Anyway, in other news,
Mhm.
the Alexander brothers, they're the luxury real estate brokers. They were indicted on federal sex trafficking charges in New York. So these big time brothers, they have offices in Miami and New York City. And I'm thinking, like, have you heard of them?
Yes, in
Okay.
Miami. So especially, I mean, just in terms of name dropping, Aura is Oren Alexander. So young
Ooh, ooh,
boys
ooh.
out here.
Well,
They're the let's all meet up and live on Sunday type. Those dudes.
well, listen here. So when I'm reading this, I'm like, all right, so listen to this. Um, the brothers arranged domestic and international trips where they carried out their crimes. They recruited women by providing them things like travel. I said, okay, what's wrong with that? Luxury accommodation and access to their exclusive events. Okay, what's wrong with that?
Hmm.
Um, they got some cocaine, mushrooms, and GHB. I don't know what GHB is, but what's wrong with that?
It's
Um,
the horse tranquilizer.
oh well, then okay then. Um,
Bring down a horse, basically.
uh, well, we'll get to that. They handpicked women to invite them. What's wrong with that? It was getting these women over social media and dating apps. I said, what's wrong with that?
Mhm.
Sounds like everybody was having a good old time. So I said to myself, self, have I been sex trafficked?
I mean,
It
if
just,
you
it just,
asking, I'm
it just,
asking.
it just sounds like the lock said, grab your friends and we're gonna have one hell of a weekend. You know that song?
You know, this
I
is oh ooh
mean,
ooh.
now, hold, now. I'm gonna back it up and say, as I further read on to these allegations happening with these brothers, this goes far back as to when they were in high school and allegedly taking advantage of women and using their, I guess the real estate power, so to speak, and the money and going full throttle with taking advantage of women when they're not conscious and rape and so on. So that's where it's not funny. You know what I'm saying? That's where the joke is over.
Right.
However, taking it all the way back to what they were accommodating you with, I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem? What did you do? You did nothing wrong.
Yeah, all of it. Look,
I'm here for it.
I've had to do my little soul searching on my damn self. Like, wait a
Hello.
minute,
Did I? That I'm like,
sound
that's
like
what
a
y'all
good
are.
time,
That's
all
what
the
y'all are.
way up until we're talking about rape and drugs.
Right.
That
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. You
and I
got
think
me all the
that's
way
what
here.
people.
That's what I'm trying. You got me here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
here. I'm here. I
I'm
got the
all the way at
ticket.
the club. I'm right there. I might be in the back. I've been
Listen.
there the whole,
Listen.
but that
Your
part.
your friend called me from the bar, said you guys are at this table. There's champagne at the table. You told me this weekend you guys are flying out. You're flying me VIP. I can bring my sister and my friends. Just make sure I have a hell of a dress. Okay, sounds good to me. You guys are gonna have an exclusive event. What y'all gonna be doing? Talking? What are you doing at your event?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
We're on our way, are we not?
we've done it many times. I've done it
That's what,
many times.
So if you got a little pill, listen here, I'm already a good time. I don't need any tranquilizers or nothing like that. Matter of fact, I got allergies, so I already got my little pills that I'm shaking. Thank you, sir. No, thank you. I'm gonna be one hard one to catch. The
No, but
drug,
yeah,
no.
this, real talk, and I'm let me just story time because I think I've shared this before, but where I was in a situation where all of this sounds good, we're partying, everybody's having a good time, the drinks are flowing, the music is right, and without getting into too many details, but it was three of us, three of my friends, and someone evidently put something in the drinks and
Mm,
did not drink. And the one that did have her drink was so out of it within 5 minutes. And I think I've told this story before, but she was out of it. She was completely, obviously, she was drugged, and then she was sexually assaulted after that.
mm,
So, and it's these types of things. I mean, we now see it with Diddy and all of what is coming out now, because there was a time, right? We
mm,
partied. We know there was a time in where going out and having these types of nights out was how things were done. But there was another side to this, and that is what we are now seeing is the drugging and the forcible sexual assaults that are coming out of these, coming out of the
mm-hmm,
white parties, so to speak, these parties.
mm-hmm,
And that's the problem. That's the illegal part. So the sex trafficking, not really, not so much, but it's the part that happens after. It's the non-consensual part. Yeah, she might be, we might be partaking in drugs and all this other stuff, but when you are tricking someone into taking something from
mm-hmm,
their bodies, and then
mm-hmm,
you are taking advantage of that person because they are not in a place to consent, that's
mm-hmm.
that's where you got to go under the jail.
Go under the jail. Yes, when you're doing, yeah, when you're doing wrong, put it like that. It's one thing when you're, happy go, drinks for everybody. When you're that guy, even then.
Yeah, but you doing that. So yeah, so this is, these bros, they lived high, the very good looking white dudes, and they were dealing in luxury real estate. They were living
Mm-hmm.
their lives. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's so many stories about how they were doing women. So this is an FBI, FBI case, because they were
FBI
doing it
case.
across state lines all over. Can you
They
imagine, for years?
from 20 dozens of women from 2010 and all the way to 2021, dating back to when, like I said, when they were in high school in some cases, using their wealth to create and facilitate some of these opportunities to sexually assault these women. So just
Hmm.
to know you're going all the way back to, like, oh yeah, in high school, like,
Mm.
mm,
Hmm. Yeah.
wow. So I feel like every dog has its day. Like, you don't outrun your
Everything you do in the dark will come out
yeah,
the
you
light.
don't outrun your consequences. Like, and
Hmm.
what used to be okay, that part too. Like, when they talk about, like, Bill Cosby, like, Quaaludes was a thing. Like, that's just what people were doing. Or even if you say, like, cocaine, like, everybody did a bump. Like, it wasn't a big
Right.
deal. What wasn't a big deal back then is just looked at now as, yeah, but it was wrong. Like, yeah, but it was wrong.
Because
Um,
you're seeing the dark side of it now. The party's over, so now you see the underbelly of it.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, the Harvey Weinstein, like, all of that, like, yeah, but it wasn't right though. People are forgetting the part of, like, yeah, but it wasn't right.
Hmm. Hmm. So,
So yeah, so that's with them. I think we're gonna be following that case because
hmm it's gonna blow
if
the lid off a lot of stuff. But yes, so we will be. So
because
okay.
yeah, when I see stuff like this, I always think they weren't at it alone.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's
Yep.
some big names that are going to drop. So, okay. Speaking of big names, so we have a comedian by the name of Andrew Schultz. He claims that Kendrick Lamar is a Taylor Swift of rap. So, this whole situation got a little bit controversial when he was talking out on the podcast Brilliant Idiots. And he was just basically saying that no matter what he does, he's still the victim. Taylor is the biggest name in the music history, yet she's always a victim, whether it's her label, Scooter Braun, her boyfriends. Kendrick is the same. So, Then he went on to say that if it was just him and Kendrick versus like Kendrick and his, I guess his team security guards, like, that they would tear me up. I wouldn't win that fight. That's what he was saying. But then he goes on to say, if it was just me and Kendrick, what? He was like, oh my God. He's basically like, we would make love. Like, are you kidding me? If he was my prison cellmate, like, and only thing he would have to question is if it was consensual or not. And granted, he's being a comedian, he's joking, but then it just got to be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, just wait. It was way out the way for this dude. The dude that looks like he looks a little, shall we say, Hitlerish to me.
Hitlerish.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of where folks, they were going with that. And um, I mean, funny guy, all of that. But I'm gonna go with what D.L. Hughley said. He said basically, as far as like it being a joke, he said, I didn't see the premise, I didn't see the punchline, and I didn't see what he say, the premise, the punchline. And in other words, like there was really no funny to it. Like he could say what he wants to say, but like that was just like, nonsense. And anytime, you have a white man say he's going to take anything from a black man in that sense, like bucking him and taking his, manhood and humanity, he just sounds like a white guy saying what he wants to say because he can. He would have never said something like that against another white guy.
Of course, of course.
And I was like,
Now,
oh man.
Kendrick, though.
What's that?
On to Kendrick. Are you a Kendrick fan?
Am I a Kendrick fan?
Yeah.
For some songs.
Yeah. Okay.
For some songs, I'll say that. For some songs,
that's not a fan then. Okay.
Some songs. I mean, why? Why you wanna? They not like us.
I appreciate a Kendrick, but I'm not the biggest fan. His voice to me, I'm into the voices, and his voice to me is a bit annoying at times.
Okay.
But I also listen to lyrics, and I think what we're seeing is he is evolving, as we all should and we all are. So his music has evolved, so I can appreciate that. But I've never been the biggest fan of West Coast music.
Yeah,
style and the sound, just me. That's all.
I'm
a fan of music.
I like him featured in the song "Anytime, Any Place," and if I'm not mistaken, it's Drake, Kendrick, and Janet Jackson. Anytime, any place, you can get it. You can get it, and I know just what you want. Anyway, that's a jam. So yeah, he spit some bars. I'm gonna give him that. He's talented.
Absolutely.
He can rap a lot of rappers under the table.
Do you think it's more hype?
No, not in this case. No,
okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I mean, but there's a lot of hype around it. So like, for example, just for the fact that his name is like everything right now, like, and Andrew Schultz is like he's working his I don't want to say, he's like riding this wave to even be connected to these names. Like, wow, like you even got confronted. So he's looking at it like, beef or not, like it don't even matter. Like, look at how everybody's saying my name right now, bad or good. Like, so that's a force to be reckoned with. But and Kendrick is, we're all looking for that song for the Super Bowl. They Not Like Us. You don't like that song?
I mean, I like it because everybody else likes it.
Really? Oh no, I think that's a good, like, we had like the Biggie and Tupac beef. So I do feel like this was good for a good beef. Like, that was good for some beef.
I agree. I'm just, I probably.
You're not a fan.
No, I won't say that I'm not a fan. I probably don't get the hype as much as other people do. But then you talk to people. What's funny to me is people appreciate Kendrick for what he's doing, but when you talk to people, there's nobody like super in love with this dude. Like he's one of the best, like the greatest of all times. You don't hear that at all.
No, I like J. Cole.
But and I probably like J. Cole much better.
I like J. Cole, but I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I don't have a Kendrick album, so I can tell you features that I appreciate. I can tell
you don't have any albums, you old lady.
You got that right. You know what? Listen, put me under the jail cell, Your Honor. She told no lie. Got no album. I'm an old lady.
In the car.
I'm an old lady, you see? Just me and my 8 tracks, Your Honor. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. I sure did. I did age myself, didn't I? There.
Album. Okay, cool.
Remember, I was talking about albums, and I was like, "Do you remember the Thriller album? It was
Absolutely.
three. You open it up, one, two, three. It was like a book, and it was
Yeah,
Michael Jackson. He
absolutely.
turns into a panther. Remember that?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
That was the vinyl,
I
y'all.
know.
Okay, I have lived. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
So yeah, so there was that, and then so in other news, as far as keeping it ratchet and what's
Mhm.
happening, Drake's petition against the UMG and Spotify gets the hearing date. So everybody was saying like, and this is what I can't stand with us, like how light skinned are Drake? Like he's taking this whole thing to court, like he's just mad because of the numbers and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, and I can't even front. I was just like, you know what, he can kind of let this one go because like it's a good beef. Like the dude had a great diss track for you, and if it was a fight, he won. And you just gotta wear that.
And you got to take it like a
You just
man.
gotta wear that. That's how I feel. But he's like, no, they use AI and they manipulated the numbers on Spotify and going on, and I'm just like, okay, he's really going to court, or is he just really trying to make sure they don't play it
Well, this
during the
lets
Super
you
Bowl?
know this is Drake's his Jewish side. Like
That's what they said. They were like,
I'm not gonna take I'm not gonna take it to the lyrics. He's not gonna do no lyrical battle. He's gonna take it to the courtroom. Like how, yeah, how
we're not gonna take.
how yarmulke of you.
No, I don't. I just. But then on the other side of it, it's just kind of him. Like he's a mogul. Like it's almost he's standing on business, literally.
But what is the
It,
business? You
he,
got done up in some lyrics. You got done.
he's
Run
like
up, gun up.
he's like, yeah, but the numbers were manipulated.
You know, I don't like it. I smell pussy, but whatever.
He said it's a defamation of his character. They called him a pedophile. Like it's a whole bunch of like, this ain't right.
And there's a lot of that going on, but essentially you got two rap artists that can really just handle this lyrically, in my opinion. Not taken into the courtroom, but we'll see.
Hmm.
We'll
I
see.
don't know. I guess, and they see Funk Master Flex came out and supported
Oh,
Drake
I
and
don't
said
care, whatever.
Drake
What
is
who is
100%
who is
right.
Master Flex?
I said, what? Listen, don't you talk about my Funk Master Flex now.
I talk about Funk Master Flex.
Don't you talk about my flex over here in New York.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Don't you talk about Funk Master Flex.
His nerves. He didn't get on your nerves?
Oh my gosh, yes. but but I'm
Oh
still
my goodness.
biased.
He was like New York's bugaboo. Was he not?
No, I'm biased. I'm like I still listen to New York radio, and I'm like every now and then I just love the drama that he brings. He's just so funny to me. Like New York, you know what it is. I'm like, oh shoot, makes me feel like I'm back in the tunnel.
Oh my gosh. Tunnel days.
I'm okay. Yeah, when he knows how to throw it back down and like cater to that time where he was spinning on the ones and twos, like yeah, I appreciate it.
I just, as an aside, I remember going, like, living in New York, you knew you don't go to Funk Master Flex parties because he was kind of corny when he DJ'd. You didn't think so?
No, when he DJ'd at the tunnel, I was there for it.
Yeah, but was that a little later? But no,
Maybe.
he was
Nah.
at the Marquee or a different area, but it was like
Mm-mm.
it was okay. I'm just
I'm like, it was. I want to say it was Flex and it was Akinelli. Was he DJing too? Fat Man Scoop and Akinelli
Fat Man Scoop. Now I remember
and Coco
uh,
Chanel.
Flex DJing at the Roxy. I believe that was his spot, and he would drop all them bombs. You could never hear the song.
There was a few of that at the Palladium, and that's where like Jay-Z was always there too. And I
Yes.
remember, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everybody would just be around. Like they didn't have the presence of like we're celebrities.
Yeah, because there was no social media, so it's not like you
It
gonna
was
see
not.
people on your Instagram, on the Twitters, or anything like that.
No, none of that.
You
None of
better
that.
you better take a picture with your eyes. If you don't have your
Ain't that the
Polaroid
truth?
camera, you better take a picture with your
You
eyes.
yup, you ain't it. You are not even lying. You better just be able to tell the story to your girl later on or have a Polaroid.
Oh, that's all. Or not. And who wants to carry a Polaroid into the club?
I'm sure I did. I knew the bouncer. They're like, what is she waving? I'm waiting for my picture to dry. Leave me alone. Because then they would have photo booths set up where people, remember, they would have
Yes,
people,
and you can
little
look simple
booth.
pictures. Yes,
Yep, and you can get your little frame with the year on it. Yeah,
yeah, I
I
wish
got my
I had
own.
all my pictures. Good
Or you
time.
had that little. Remember the disposable camera? You could have a
Yes.
disposable
Oh
camera.
yes. Oh yes. You could buy one.
Uh huh.
They were like eight or $10 though, and they
Can
took
I?
like 20 pictures.
We have one here at the house. The
Mhm.
husband has one from like one of our high school reunions.
What?
And he's just like, I have, pictures on it, and just in a box. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this to Walgreens and I'm going to get this.
Do
Watch
they
out.
still develop pictures at Walgreens? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's a thing. It's a thing. But anyway, so those were the days.
Mhm.
Speaking of the days, Sean Diddy Combs, he proposes his request. What am I saying? He wants to be released on bail, and
Oh, it's
it
not
has been
happening. It's third time.
denied, denied, denied.
Yeah, third time's not the charm, Diddy. Yeah. So what's your listen,
What you got?
what is your position with all that has transpired, and we are closing out 2024 with an impending trial. Diddy's about to go to trial in May of next year,
Mm-hmm.
2025. So
Mm-hmm.
he's sitting in jail, try to get bail, and
Mm-hmm.
is sitting in jail on these sex trafficking charges. Pretty much what we just said. These two Alexander brothers, same
Yeah.
along the same lines. What do you think about this whole thing? I don't think you and I have ever actually talked about it, but I'm curious to know what your side of this is with Diddy. Just with Diddy.
Diddy has a verse in a song,
Hmm.
and he said something like, basically tell them, he says, "Get your little dress, and I'll take care of the rest."
Okay.
And he's basically telling the girl, like, we got a flight and we leaving. Like, I'm taking, we changing the weather. And that little part made me just giggle. I just said, you know what? That's every girl's dream. We like stuff like that. Don't just bring a little dress. I'll take care of the rest. So, with that being said, after seeing what we've seen with our own eyes, as he dragged Cassie through the
Hmm.
hotel, that was, something horrific to watch. I didn't like seeing that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this is crazy what they're saying about me, blah blah blah. But then we saw with our own eyes, and then you try to pay off the hotel. You know what I mean? So really, you're using your power and money as you should. However, you were never, and we're talking about Puffy. He was never honest in any of it, and
Right.
he didn't. And I think that had he paid her sooner, she probably would have never came out against him. To be honest with you. Had he paid her sooner and gave her, and I think that's why she went a little harder. Like, you know what? You're not leaving me high and dry after all this, and things got to be a little more out of his control, not out of control, out of his control. That's what
Right.
happened there. So
Right.
I'm not, I feel bad for victims and so on. However, the one thing I can say, and I said this before, he was not Billy Idol dancing with himself. So many other people play a big part in all of this.
Right.
So, that's how I'm really looking at it. Like, so he's one man, but call him a sacrificial lamb for many men. Just like these brothers that we're talking about, the real estate moguls getting away with, oh, you thought it was just them two? Are you kidding me?
Right.
So I'm just like, he's what he's doing is he's doing time on his own, but let me tell you something. If he wants to start singing, I don't know if he's under the code of not I'm not snitching, but if he decides that, like, F it, I'm gonna be here forever. You know how many other people he can take down?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
how I look at it. Like, so, he's one of many men getting, and there's a lot of men looking at Puffy right now, and they have to think to themselves, damn, I've been getting away with this shit for years.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with you.
and
I
and
agree with you.
Puffy's taking the rap. So I'm like, yeah, he's a representation of many men.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I agree with you. Definitely a representation of many men.
Sure.
So many, as you're saying, there's way more. There's a watershed that's
Sure.
happening, about to be happening, and I think people are scrambling because the man did not act by himself. Now I remember the beginning of this year, pretty much where it was said this is we're in the age of information. A lot of things were coming out. 2024 has been a year
Mm-hmm.
for black men in particular. Cat Williams set it off, and
Mm-hmm.
everything has
Mm.
been playing out. And I really wish that Diddy, P Diddy, or whatever, he had an opportunity to fall on the sword, so to speak, and speak his truth, which is, I'm not a perfect man. I've made mistakes, and come clean. And he chose to use the media to try to trick all of us and pretend like we didn't see what we eventually saw. You remember that?
Yep.
So he chose violence on his own damn self, because as forgiving as we are as Black people, we probably would have and listened to him had he been more apologetic and said, I'm sorry. That probably would not have absolved him. He still had to go through what he got to go through. But I think it would have made a difference in the public eye if he had been a stand-up person from the very beginning, and admitted some of this before the world got to see
it.
So many people have played a part in this, and now it's coming out, and there's a lot of backlash because you hear people saying, well, now you got all these people standing up, and now everybody got a story, but where were they at before? And I go back and I say this, especially as it relates to even our brother, that this was said 10 years, 15 years ago. People have been, there's been rumblings of this, but it wasn't the time for it. There was a lot of silencing. It wasn't the time for that truth to come out the way that it is now. So you have people remembering what they've been saying, what they were not allowed to say, what they couldn't say, what they've been shut up of, been silenced about. Now it is coming out, because this is I truly believe this is the time for it. This is the energy for it. And, and as we look at now with Sean Combs being wrapped up, not Sean Combs, Jay-Z now being wrapped up, and he's now named in the civil suit. And now I'm gonna ask you this, because did you hear or did you read the statement that Jay-Z gave when these allegations that he had essayed a young woman, 13-year-old, 20-something years ago? Did you read the statement that Jay-Z put out?
No, but you and I spoke, and you were telling me in some of the statement he pretty much feels sorry for his kids and his wife.
No. Well, let me. So
did you read it?
I absolutely read it. I read it, and here's what. Just as a person coming to this situation with some outside information, I think if you are like we have, and we grew up in a certain era, and certain things, if the question is, did Jay-Z ever date someone that was underage, what would you say?
I think he has.
Okay. I don't think there's any question that he has. He said it in his
I
lyrics.
wouldn't put it past him.
He said in his lyrics, we know that Foxy Brown that's the one thing you can't change. You could change somebody's age on paper, but it is what it is. And as Foxy Brown said, he know what it is. She was 15 years old, and he was definitely a grown man. Now, it was a different time, but that does not excuse the action. So when I read Jay-Z's response to the lawsuit, in my mind, I'm saying, he better be you. This is the time for you to come out clean, because we all know. And it kind of flew over my head, but even Beyonce, she was 16 years old when they were clearly dating, and he was a grown man. So we know these things. We're not making it up. We know these actions, so to speak. I can go back. There's plenty of lyrics you can hear. He liked young girls, but most of the guys back then, they like young girls.
And today,
you've sung about it, and you sang about it. So I'm just saying, Mr. Carter, you need to be squeaky clean. Make sure you squeaky clean on this one, because it's going to come out one way or another. And we all know, we all have some information about, well, you did like young girls. You did say, and we do know of some of these young girls while you were dealing with these young girls.
Right. Well, didn't he? The latest with that is he asked the court to dismiss the rape lawsuit over inconsistencies in the, I guess, in the young lady's story. Claiming that she was 13 years old in 2000, and
but then it's not going to get dismissed at this point. She has a right
Mm-hmm.
to prove her case and move forward. And I watched the interview with the young, this woman. They got her behind the screen, and yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, it sounds shaky. Do you remember what you was doing in 2013 on that particular day? And her father's not corroborating the story. It sounds real janky. It does.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm looking at Jay-Z, and it's I want our black men to do amazingly better. And this is an opportunity for him to, again, we already saw what happened with Diddy in the public eye. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want that to happen again. So I think the way that you kind of curve that is you got to tell your truth. You got to come clean. Because if you're saying that you just saying you ain't never ever ever ever, sir, we know that that's not true.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because there is a difference between black men in media and white men in media,
Hmm.
and we get dragged and ragged in a different state. Um, when I say different state, like in a whole different way. So I'm just thinking, and I'm not saying one is right or wrong. I'm just seeing the difference. I'm just thinking of this president here and how so many women recently have come out about like sexual assault and abuse, and he said it himself, like, this is what I do. I grab them. This is what, in my day, this is what I do. And everybody just kind of turned a blind eye to that and kept it moving. He's not being ragged, you know what I'm saying? The same way, no real, I don't know. It's different versus how it's going
It's
down with
different.
Puffy and Jay-Z, right? He got to still move forward and become the president.
Absolutely. But because it is different, we need to be. You laughing?
No, I'm just saying, like, wow, like,
Yeah, yeah. But it is a difference. This is why I'm saying I'm looking at our black men, and we want to build y'all up, but there's got to be a level of truth and accountability that happens within so that can happen.
well,
And hmm,
we are very forgiving. Hold on, let me just, and to what you're saying, um, we're not trying to get too Al Sharpton on it, but when Rihanna and Chris Brown had their tussle and everybody saw Rihanna's face, how could somebody do that to somebody? Now, I would like to say Rihanna is a island girl who hits back. I would like to say that she's not sitting back for the blows, and I believe there was a fight. Doesn't matter though. We saw her face, and he was apologetic from the door. From what I know, he was charged, and I don't know about you, but I love his music.
yeah, I mean,
He's
the
never
music ain't
stopped.
done nothing to me, and that's what I don't really that I can separate all day because the music ain't done nothing to me.
Right? It's terrible. Or I can.
I could still listen to R. Kelly. I can separate the man and his private life from the music that he puts out, and
And,
we all enjoy.
and I mean, yeah, just the same way they're able to separate. I can go on and on with different white men in entertainment as well. But we get ragged and dragged a different way. I look at Fabulous. I seen Fabulous, chase his wife around and the father and say, "I got a bullet for you," and he
Mhm.
messed her face up. And I seen that. I saw like, wow. Was he ever apologetic? No. Does he continue to make great music? Yeah. So in some ways we are forgiven and we do brush some things under as well culturally. We do.
Okay.
We do. We got some humdingers there.
Well, like I said, we are forgiving, and all that is, I believe that is owed to us is some accountability and truth. You give us that, we're gonna build you back up.
This is true. I mean, if not, then you got the Jamie Foxx. I love my white woman, but not in public. You running from us, you know what I'm saying? But you love us though, you know what I'm saying? You looking for us, but you running from us.
Anyway.
Well,
Mhm.
okay. So we will keep talking about this because it's
Yeah.
going to be in the news. It's going to be ongoing in
Okay.
the new year, right?
I mean, it's about to, it's 2025 is about to pop off. Let me just say. So, in other news, so did you hear that Mrs. Carter, Beyonce,
Oh, 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 oh,
whoa,
oh, oh.
what's that?
No, I said, oh, 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 I'm listening.
She dropped Carter as her last name. And so I don't know if she did it. It's not really clear whether she did it, but in Forbes, they did the recent most powerful women list and they mentioned Beyonce Knowles. not Beyonce Knowles Carter, which we know she usually goes by, right? Mrs. Carter.
Yeah.
No mention of Beyonce Knowles Carter. And it's interesting because right around this time, as we know, we just spoke about it, the allegations against Jay-Z now, and how convenient she ain't got his last name in print.
Mm.
So I don't know.
They're saying that it's basically, she doesn't want any attachment with his name being caught up in this lawsuit.
I guess
So
so. It could be. It
I
could be
don't
that.
know.
Although she's one of the most famous people on the planet, how you drop Carter as your last name, is that really going to
Change anything?
separate you from Jay-Z? Sounds no. But okay.
Did you see the meme I sent you? And it's George and Wheezy Jefferson, but it's Jay-Z and Beyonce's face, and it has the On the Run song in the background. Girl, it's just for funny shits and giggles. Made me laugh. I didn't know what's going on. Wait a minute. Do you know what's going on with Papoose and Remy Ma?
Whew, a mess. A whole mess with them. So
I got somewhere down there. I got lost between Kendrick Lamar and Drake beefing and Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. It's just so much.
it's a lot. It's a lot
I
going on.
can't.
So,
I don't
so
know.
let me give the bit of a breakdown here because oh Remy. So we know we've seen Remy and Papoose, right?
Mhm.
First of all, he's when I have a rappers that I just can't stand the way they rap. He's like number one. Big Noid is another one. Rap Papoose is I just not a fan. However, in
Uh-huh.
his private life, at least what he showed as a man, as a family man, I love.
Yeah.
They were black love. They
Oh.
were the hip hop community's couple. We saw them, and up until recently, when Papoose, Papadopoulos,
Papoose.
Papoose, he accused Remy Ma, or Reminisce, her name is Reminisce, of engaging in
Mhm.
extramarital affairs with the
Mhm.
battle rapper. What's his name is Easy the Blockchain, right? Who happens to
Mhm.
look a little bit like Papoose. So she definitely got a type, right?
Mhm.
So they've been going back and forth. And then Papoose, I guess he started dating Clarissa Shields, the boxer. And then
Right.
Clarissa jumps in and was like, she gonna battle Remy Ma for $1.
Oh boy.
a,
Oh boy.
a mess. Now, here's what I will say about the whole thing, and just knowing what I know. When Remy went away, remember that
Good time
she she has a temper, and she bust that bottle off. Remember that,
in
and
the
had
club,
to go
right?
to jail for a period of time. I can't remember how long she went to jail. He held her down, to the
Mhm.
point where, and I've seen interviews where she said she would have to tell him to like stop coming up here. So you don't have to come every day, because he would come every single day
Oh.
and lock up. He tried to get married to her while she was behind bars, and they found out about it because they wasn't supposed to do a marriage ceremony, and he was banned for like 6 months. When
Oh
his six
shoot.
months and a day was up, he was back there and sitting up there in her face.
He said 6 months in a day. Here's Johnny.
The man was holding her down. Now, Remy Ma,
Mhm.
she's a Gemini, and I don't know if you know about Geminis, but
I know nothing.
I, they got they have two completely different sides.
Mm, mm,
So this
mm.
woman who has been held down, and I think it's so interesting that she has like an older son, right? Because I think her and Papoose, they had like younger kids.
Yes, they have a
But
daughter. She has
older
a son
son,
who's going to jail
oh,
for
I think
murder.
he's going to yeah, he's in
Mm.
wrapped up in something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you have this man, Remy, that is in public held you down because
Mhm.
this is a man that did a bid with you. It usually is the other way around, and it don't even last, and it
Mhm.
lasted. So the fact that he has found what sounds like a little bit of happiness, because he was chasing her around for a while. Her
Mhm.
Papoose was chasing her around for a while, trying to get back in her good graces. She likes what she likes, whatever that is. And she gets on there and she's crying that she wants to be back. I guess want her family back. And
Mm.
man, like you don't know what you got until it's gone, for
Wow.
real. And it's sad that they have this public blowout going on when they used to be so black love, and
Mhm.
Papoose was fighting her Easy to Block, punched him in his face, and
Yeah.
he was saying how Remy is such a narcissist, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
sleeping around, and it's sad. And then Fat Joe got into it. He was like, I love Papoose because she made me love him. So it's hard,
Oh.
when the family is not getting together. It's a mess.
Oh, that's tough. Now, I do like what Papu said about knocking the dude out. He says, I didn't knock him out because he slept with my wife. I knocked him out because he shook my hand and then slept with my wife.
Man, stand on business. Stand on business.
Oh, that's like, yeah, like that's like you came to my house, you ate my food, biatch, and then you
Mm-hmm.
went and slept with my husband. Yeah, I get that part.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yeah. So sorry
Mm-mm-mm.
that they have to air it out in the public, but it is what it
That's
is.
it is what yeah, that's that whole pup because I think that you can get divorced, you can have a spat, all that. You can do that off of social media. It is possible. People choose to make their business everybody else's business. And then for
Right.
that, you got more opinions, more minds, more little bit of razzmatazz that you are inviting in. That's on you.
Right.
That is so for both of them. That's on them. They really could have done a lot better. But then the whole this one want to fight this one for $1. Then it's like, wait a minute, how old is everybody? Real quick, run that by me one more time. I get a little confused with people's ages.
Grown ass, big
Yeah, that's
ages.
girl. That's like when I'm looking at Hip Hop Miami, like just looking at the trailer for some of these reality shows. I'm like, now how old is everybody now?
Yeah, it's getting crazy. It's
Yes,
getting
there's some
kind of
good
hectic.
drama. There's some good
Okay,
drama, but wait a minute now.
okay.
Um,
Moving on.
Moving on. So really quick. So we have marriages. We have so we got divorces, engagement. So Megan Good and Jonathan Majors, they're engaged. It's official. Because first it was they broke up, and now they are officially engaged.
I don't know why I feel like the idea of it just smells to me. Like, don't it have a smell?
No, I don't know what that whole situation is.
I don't know either.
I'm just like I don't. It's giving. I don't know. I just can't get over Jonathan Majors in a hot pink jacket on the Ebony magazine cover. That shit right there just has me
Absolutely.
like what were you doing, Jonathan?
Absolutely.
Jonathan, like it wasn't giving fashion, and then he's
And then
engaged.
he
So
tried to say it was like a what do you call it?
couture, what Fashion
No, he
Week?
said it was what is the Asian cartoons? What do they call that?
Oh, anime.
Yeah, it was like an anime character. That's what he said.
Okay, well,
I don't believe
no,
it.
well, no,
I
thank you.
believe you need more people.
I was excited to see him on the cover. He was giving body, and I know he's in great shape. But then I was like, what is this? What is? I love that jacket for me.
Yeah,
I
and the
love those
boots. I love
pants
the
for
boots
me.
for me.
What was it for me? I was loving all of it. So anyway, but yeah, him and and yeah, she's beautiful, and
Mhm.
they look good together. I just like wow. And then we have Chance the Rapper, who I can't say that I'm have his albums, as an old lady I am. Uh, his wife, and they go way back. They're like high school sweethearts, from what I understand. She filed for divorce,
Mm.
and she's done. She said, "Me done, done, done."
We're done.
So yeah, people, some people they're done with each other. So that's how I feel like going into a new year, it's always good to know that people move on.
Yep.
So next year when we talk about all these different and even for people move on, this is going to be interesting.
Okay. All right. I want to. What's this whole
Mm.
thing with Luigi Mangione?
Oh, Luigi.
Luigi
Oh,
Mangione. I mean,
Luigi.
not say his name like that, but go ahead.
No, yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of the videos, people they made t-shirts. He's making money off of the merch. It has been crazy. So Luigi Mangione, am I saying that right? He's been indicted on first degree murder, charged with murder of the United Healthcare CEO. Um, and this right here was something we all watched on TV. He killed this man in Manhattan, broad daylight, and he was on the run for not too long, but they caught him because he was at a McDonald's eating a hash brown, took his mask down, and everybody's like, there he goes.
Hmm.
Now the thing with Luigi, and I think I told you I watched a special.
Mm-mm.
Luigi is nice looking,
Yeah.
and people are treated differently. You know, um, when they actually have attractive looks on their side. Their sentences are lower. It was a whole thing.
I believe it, and especially not this is it's. I mean, this part we're doing this in the ratchet, but
Yes, we're
you know,
gonna. Yep.
but
Hmm.
I will say that just the tone from the public, because he killed a CEO of United Healthcare, which is known to, I think the numbers were like 30-40% of denials in terms of claims. Like, it was very high in the industry where they're
Hmm.
known to deny and delay. And those are the words that he put on the bullets.
Mm.
With for that the bullet, the shell casings that were left at the scene, they had
Hmm.
words on it because that's what United Healthcare was known for. But just the fact that this is a man who lost his life. He was a father, a husband. That
Hmm.
sorry for the loss of that. However,
Right.
there's been a lot of support, as you said, for this young man who's
Mm.
obviously a troubled young man. But I'm reading his manifesto, or so they said. It was alleged that he had some information on his computer where he basically said, quote unquote, we're the new CEOs. It's like a manifest destiny. You have to, if you want to change things, you got to move out and you got to do things. And so basically, I'll be the one to do it. And so that
Mm,
was
mm,
what motivated him to probably get on a Greyhound bus and stay in the city for 10 days and probably track where this guy was, um,
mm,
and take his life.
mm, mm,
Woo.
mm,
Now there's been but the outpouring of, he is a good looking guy. What is
mm,
that going to mean in
mm,
terms of his murder trial? How's that going to play out? How's that going to benefit him? How is that not going to benefit him? He comes from a family of wealth in
mhm,
Baltimore County, which
mhm,
I'm familiar with, and he
mm,
obviously it was premeditated. He knew
mhm,
exactly what he was doing, and he was prepared to be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, to do this.
mm,
But boy, I
mhm.
mean, the stories start coming out. I've heard all kind of stuff. Guys, saying he went both ways, and um, all kind of just all kind of stories.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, that I just, looking at the TV and going like, oh my God, like, did I just watch a shooting like that just happened? Couple, it was just, I was very thrown by it because at the time we didn't know what the face was. You understand? Like at the time it was just the CEO he was on his way to a meeting, so clearly it was very calculated. And he was murdered in broad daylight. And I caught it when they were interviewing one of like a cab driver and the woman on the side of the street when it had just happened.
Mm,
And when they attach it to him, being someone of importance, United Healthcare, and I'm thinking like United Healthcare, shoot, everybody got United Healthcare. Like, wait a minute,
right,
that's a huge business conglomerate. I'm just like, this is billions of dollars on the line here. Like, this was done on purpose. That's the first thing I thought. Like, oh yeah, this was done on purpose. There's more to this story. And the fact that they're focusing on his looks and the fact that there's merchandise being made and people are doing videos of like, find me Luigi, and they're calling him a hero also.
right.
Just to, I overheard people talking recently, and I had to remove myself from the conversation because they were like, he's a hero. So what? That CEO probably has so many bodies on his hands
Mm, mm.
over the years. Like, so what? And death and murder is wrong. However you flip it, I just couldn't believe people felt so entitled to say that. Um,
Yeah, people have very strong opinions about this.
mm,
So, because everybody has some sort of criticism for the healthcare industry. That's just par for the course. Most people you talk to,
yeah, because it's rigged.
absolutely. Whew, our healthcare system is so broken because we live in a capitalistic society and it's run by dollars.
Hmm.
It's not it's not a true healthcare system. It is a capitalistic retail system.
Yeah, money system. Yeah, there's more. There's what they say. There's more. Not even. There's money in the treatment, never in the cure.
Absolutely.
And that's how United States thrives, with this system. And it's sad that I feel like Luigi he considered himself a sacrificial lamb in exposing some truths which I know when he has a chance to get on that stand,
Mm.
I feel like he has it already plotted and planned out. He's
Yep.
naming names and he's taking numbers. And I think he's not a dumb guy. Hold on a minute now.
Mhm.
He's connected and he's plugged in. So I think he wanted to get in this position to get on a stand to publicly name names and
Yep.
pull cards.
Yep. Absolutely. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. We'll definitely be talking about this.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a little woke, but we are actually in the woke minute.
Hmm.
So are you ready? You got
I'm
this?
here. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Time is going by fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're still
All
going.
right. So this I wanted to bring up a very I don't want to say a sad story, but something that let me just go back. So the move bombing in Philadelphia. Are you familiar with the story at all before I get into it?
No.
Okay. And I wasn't until college,
Hmm.
and that was Africana studies. That was a part of it. We're learning about Mumia Abu Jamal.
Hmm.
That's where I learned about it initially. But there's some recent developments that happened. So basically,
Hmm.
Move was this radical Black liberation group. They were founded in 1972 in Philly by John Africa. And the way that they lived, they basically were a commune or a group where they advocated living naturally off the ground, being self sufficient. They rejected technology and the government and racism, systemic racism. And they lived communally if you know this area in Philly, I believe it's like West Philly, it's interesting that they were pushing that type of lifestyle in that environment, but they did, and they were very vocal and very activist, especially about police brutality
Hmm.
and the environmental destruction. So this was, back in the 70s, big afros, they were living together. And then the tensions with the city of Philadelphia started. They always had a conflict with the city officials and law enforcement. So in 1978, there was this confrontation at Powelton Village where they had a compound, and in the melee, a police officer was shot and killed.
Hmm.
And due to that, 9 Move members, they were known as the Move Nine, they
Hmm.
were convicted of third-degree murder, and they all got like 100-year sentences. It was crazy. So
Hmm.
you had some of the Move Nine, some of their kids still living in the commune,
Hmm.
and there were adults there. So, and then they relocated to, I believe, Osage Avenue, which is another townhome in the early 80s.
Hmm.
So they set up this row house. They're living in this row house in this group, and they would so some of the neighbors started to complain of the unsanitary conditions. There was maybe rats, and they were always armed. That was one thing about the Move members. Like they had their own armed guards. So some
Hmm.
of the neighbors started complaining. And so the city responded on May 13th, 1985, after they tried supposedly to get the group to move and do all these different things.
Hmm.
The mayor, which at the time was the first Black mayor, Wilson Good, along with the police commissioner, Gregor Sambor,
Hmm.
decided that they were going to go in and evict all of the Move members from the property. So how they did this was they initiated a raid. The city of Philadelphia went in with the police, the gas mask, and they started arresting people. And the Move members, some of them fought back. Again, they were armed people, and they started fighting back. So the police bought tear gas. Then they bought cannons. Then they bought 10,000 rounds of ammunition, what they went off, just to try to get them to move off the property. And then finally, and I remember seeing footage of this where they dropped a bomb. They basically took a helicopter over the row house and dropped the bomb in the area and explosives. And the bomb ignited in the area, and it caused a fire that basically burned the whole block down.
Hmm.
So 11 people, including 5 children, died in the fire, and 60 surrounding homes were destroyed because of the fire that the bomb caused. So this was all kind of played out on television. There's a huge legacy that's built around this because in 2021, starting, there was a report that some of the bones of the children who had
Hmm.
perished in the bombing were being utilized for studies by the anthropology department at, I believe, at UPenn. And there was a white student who I remember she wrote a dissertation where she had basically studied the skull of one of the bombing victims, Delisha Africa, who was 12
Mm,
years old at the time.
mm, mm, mm.
So then in November of this year, during an inventory at the Penn Museum, they uncovered that they had even more human remains. And they also said they had remains, the believed to be Delisha Africa's, the young 12-year-old girl.
Mm,
So
mm,
as
mm.
of this month, December 2024, there was a report that emerged indicating that forensic examinations of one of the MOVE bombing victims revealed deliberate decapitation by human intervention rather than this happening as a result of the bombing or the subsequent fire. Shit
Mm,
is
mm, mm,
crazy.
mm, mm,
So, following this
mm.
discovery, which has just happened this month, the Africa family, alongside the Philadelphia council member Jamie Gautier, they made a public demand for the immediate return of Delisha Africa's remains. And they emphasized the need for respect and proper memorialization of the victims, and just bringing up the fact that this is taking this long. So, I don't know. You said you've never heard about
Okay.
this. This is not something we have learned in school. I remember, getting kind of bits and pieces of this when I
Mhm,
was in college. But now the discovery, and I say that in quotes,
mhm,
of more of the remains of the children that have been sitting at
mm,
a museum
mm, mm, mm,
and have finally been, I guess they went through and tried to do a summary of an accounting of all the bones that they had, and then come to
mhm.
find out they got this little girl's skull, and that was removed from her
Decapitated.
body.
Oh my God.
The crazy the So let's take a moment, because this is real. We hear about certain things.
Mhm,
This is not a conspiracy theory. This is real life, and this has happened in our lifetimes, which is akin to uh, a lynching, a mass murder by the government. This is
mhm,
Philadelphia we're talking about, who decided that it was a good idea to drop a bomb in an inner city, on an inner city block, to remove a family of women, men, and children.
mm.
So, what are,
This
what are your thoughts on this?
thoughts. This is so disturbing. So, I was reading on it as you asked, like, have I ever learned on it? I'm thinking if I did, I'm thinking more. It's a little bit. I'm thinking like they were a bit like the Black Panther movement in that
Absolutely.
in that sense, and just having the sense of no justice, no peace, and a very Malcolm X state of mind of we are not turning the other cheek, and if we need to be armed, and they're going about things in a natural way at that time. There has to be a greater sense of bravery, especially in the 70s in Philly. So to be a part of this movement, and you are policing your own community basically, like this is, and what you got some complaints. So like like you said, the government, to get them out, you go in and you bomb, and to later find out that people were murdered, and then years later we found out you're testing using their bodies like lab rats, as
Right.
if like as if kind of shrugging your shoulders, like a so what. I just feel like that's oh man, you just it makes you think of Henrietta Lacks, and
Absolutely.
it also makes you think of the in the 1840s, it was what, James Marion Sims, the doctor, and they called him in Montgomery, Alabama. He was the praised for gynecology, but he was testing on slaves, and
Yep.
kind of just because considering that we can take pain better than white people. So um and they recently took down his memorial, by the way. Like, he was honored. So again, black people are brushed under the rug as like
It's a lot of dehumanization.
yes, so disturbing, just like, and she's 12 years old, and
She was 12 years old.
her
Yeah.
family found out that she was the cat, like you said, like a lynching, and they're experimenting and using her in science, and museums.
Yeah, this is why, they not like us. But this is why it's important that we get educated on these stories that you're not going to find in our educational books. These are not those stories that you're going to find, and it's important, I believe, to share these stories, and there should be a public discourse so that it's not swept under the rug as it has been. And then it's important, I believe, that we understand the systemic issues here.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't one person deciding to do this and drop a bomb. This was uh, a group of individuals who are called to be stewards and
Mm-hmm.
protectors of their community, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what they got together and decided to do, with to address what they thought was an injustice, or because you
Mm-hmm.
don't want these people in the neighborhood, so we're going to drop a bomb. So
Mm-hmm.
again, this also calls for accountability in our
Mm-hmm.
governments. Is for people to not only to educate yourself, but to also hold those accountable that are doing things like this, whether that is supporting the investigation, which I'm committed to doing even at this point, and we're talking 30 30 plus years that this has happened, and we are just now getting the information that the our people were not treated fairly. They were treated very, very unjustly. But this is what happens. And more importantly, I feel it's a need to honor these victims.
Mm-hmm.
Delisha Africa is one name that we have out of this, because
Mm-hmm.
they found her bones at a museum,
Mm-hmm.
30 something years that she has been gone. But give her remember her,
Mm-hmm.
remember these names, remember these
Mm-hmm.
people, and demand the justice, and make sure that they're recognized. That's what's important.
And it's so sad to know that she's just one person of the remains that turned up.
Right. Yeah.
How many more, that are not accounted for, and how many, people actually, at the hands of these people, like you said, like the accountability aspect is there. Like, how many people are really walking around being responsible for for this horrific? I would say it's so horrific. Like, who's responsible for this? Like, why do we not hear about this? And it's hurtful to know that it's because it's people of color. That's why we don't hear about this.
Hmm.
Had it been a village in England, you know what I mean? Just hypothetically, it would just be, oh my God, did you hear about it? It would just be all in our face because the news and politics tell us what they consider news.
Right.
And that's why, we have to go the extra mile to find out like what's really going on. And, you can't listen to everything because we are made out to be wrong when in reality, we are terrorized.
Yep. And this is why, just we need to bring more empathy amongst ourselves and
Mm-mm-mm.
towards others,
Mm-mm-mm.
because that makes us human. That's the part of us. We are divine beings, but that's what makes us human, is our ability to cultivate empathy for one another, and and give each other our flowers and our dignity.
Mm-hmm.
These are humans we're talking about, and that this was done, and just the insensitivity that was shown even after all these years, and we're still talking about this because they have not been honored. These victims have not been honored. They're still, Mumia Abu Jamal is still in jail
Mm-mm.
for, I don't know if it was 100 years, for a crime that overwhelming the evidence he didn't commit. So
Mm-mm.
a lot of the Move Nine, they were in jail. They were given like 100-year sentences, some of them. But this is why there's two worlds that go on here in the United States, two separate worlds, and we have to acknowledge it and be mindful of it. But then, in order for us to break it down to address some of these systemic issues, is we got to take action. When we hear
Mm.
things like this, when we see things like this, we know that these things have happened, and don't forget who was affected, and
Yeah.
make the change. Be the change that you want to see. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty heavy, pretty
It's just
heavy.
it's just so disturbing because when you are when people are wrongfully done, to be honest with you, murdering and some, like I said, like it, color does not matter. To kill somebody, to kill a child, like I don't, your color, your race, that doesn't matter. It's wrong. It's wrong. However, to be a person of color in the United States of America, when you start to recognize a pattern, it hits different.
Right. So
anyway, so thank you for sharing that. Thank you for
yes,
enlightening us on
yes,
that.
yes. Oh my goodness.
Shedding some
Yeah.
light.
A little okay. Well, we're still in the woke, and there was something else I wanted to bring back around since we talked about it before when we talked about the fires in Maui. Do you remember that? And that actually
Yes.
happened back in 2023. So
Okay.
it wasn't, so it's been over a year. So
Mm-hmm.
if y'all remember back on August 8th, 2023, there were wildfires that devastated large parts of Maui, including Lahaina, and it resulted in a significant loss of life and property. And the issue with the missing persons, we've got conflicting reports as to who was missing. There were a lot of children that were supposedly sent or were home that day that were missing. And, I just want to touch on what this could actually, or because we don't talk about it, but we need to talk about it. We need to address some of these things. So the United Nations 2030 agenda, which emphasized sustainable development, smart cities, and basically what a smart city was reducing or making it like highly technological, right? So smart cities, they are meant to collect a lot of data. So through sensors and cameras and different devices. So when we think about a smart city, it's run by AI, right? And who benefits from a smart city would be corporations and companies, right? Because they're going to make money off of it. All right.
Marketing.
So fast forward or rewind back to what happened in Maui. We know that there were these crazy wildfires that conveniently cleared away a lot of the real estate in Lahaina, paving the way for redevelopment, which aligned with the city's initiatives. Because even before this had happened, I guess there was some sort of talk with turning this area into a smart city. So we know in order that you have this idea, but in order to have that, you need to have the land. It needs to be clear, right?
Right.
And funny enough, you have people reporting that The Rock had a home there, Oprah Winfrey had a home. Their houses were untouched. It was almost like the fire just went around some of these multi-million-dollar properties that were owned by the wealthy. So going back to 2030, the agenda, it was meant to give projects to wealthy developers and corporations to come in and build these smart cities. Follow me now. Now we have wildfires that had happened in one of the, I guess, most prime real estate areas in the world, right? Then we have the government's response or the lack of response that happened when the wildfires happened. So basically, there were many allegations of a delayed response. We heard about the reports that the alarms that were supposed to go off didn't go off. There was a mismanagement of the evacuation routes. There were failures of the alarm systems. There was a lot of suspicion and negligence that could be attributed to the way that officials responded to the wildfires. Then there was also what's called DEWs, or the idea that there were these directed energy weapons. So there were people that speculated that the fires were not natural, that they were actually initiated using this technology called DEWs to target destruction. And I say that when you look at some of the video and the accounts from people, you could see the fire. It was almost like it had there was a path of the fire, but it actually looked like it had a plan that was planned. It was planned out. You could see it. Another thing I wanted to point out is John Pelletier. Now, remember him. He was the police chief that back in 2017, when there was that mass shooting in Las Vegas, he was the police chief during that time. So it's very eerie that the police chief of Maui was also the police chief in Vegas during that mass shooting. I don't know if it took it was over 50 lives or something.
Music festival,
at a Harvest Music Festival, right? So is that a coincidence that this individual was leading the police efforts in what would be two very high profile, unprecedented disasters. And that raises a lot of questions, a lot of speculation regarding that. So,
Hmm.
I just, in closing, because this is one of those things we cannot forget, do not forget, because there are still people that are missing. The fires have been devastated. There are whole communities that have been displaced. This has totally disrupted the local economy, but it's also opened the door for corporations and these large scale interventions to come in and rebuild these smart cities.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you
Mm-hmm.
think about all of this? I'm just giving my thoughts on it, but it sounds, if this is the way to, I guess, move move a society forward,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this way. This is not the way to do it.
So, from what I'm understanding, there are people who are significantly untouched by these fires. And yeah, there is some conspiracy theories to go around that. Heck yeah. And when you say that, they're creating these smart cities, I can't help but to wonder about New York City under
Right,
surveillance. And I look up, there's always a camera, and I see the military, on the Port Authority, and it's just you're on high watch. You get, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
you can plug your phone up right here if you need to, next to the homeless man who's using the phone. Like, it's very, yeah. So, and then to hear that this fire is part of, somewhat of a plan. I'm going to say that's how it sounds. Like, it sounds like it was done on purpose for a rebuilding and for some type of gain. And it
Mm-hmm.
also makes me think of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just thinking far out here that some of these things are done on purpose. And when you think of who's to gain from that, um, there's money to be gained. That's all it is. There's
Yeah,
money to be gained, and Hawaii, as we know, they're natural, beautiful, from the land to the people, and there's a lot of money there.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we're just talking, but
Yeah,
you look
yeah.
at it where we
Mm.
live in an age where disasters can be exploited, even engineered for gain. It
Mhm.
and if we look close enough, we can see it. Whether that is the government being all secretive, we can see the smash and grabs, the land grabs that are happening, the profits that these corporations are making when these disasters happen.
Mhm.
It's not so far fetched. I mean, historically, we can look back and we can see where this has happened before, and here
Mhm.
here it is happening again. So, being mindful and looking at that from a standpoint of, I'm all for technological advances.
Mhm.
AI is here. We need to learn to work with it, and
Mhm.
for the greater good of everyone.
Right.
When it starts turning against its people, and when it makes people do things to other people for economic gain at the expense
Mhm.
of that person's health, life, or safety, then that is a huge issue, and we need to stop that.
Mm. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Crazy, right?
that's that. Yeah. This is. I just feel like this is something we watch on TV.
But we do, but it's in real life. This is real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, yeah, no, TV is based on real life. So I'm saying, like, this is definitely like a movie that I feel like we've seen or we're gonna see,
Mhm.
exposing a lot of the truths that we're just now, hearing and reading about. So, really quick, I don't know if you heard about the drones flying in New Jersey.
Yeah, of
Did
course
you hear?
I have.
Did you hear about it? So
Yeah.
I've been
Then
looking out. I've been
maybe.
looking out my window, and I don't live too far from the Teterboro, which is like a private airport. So we have, planes. And then, in some sense, I may not live too far from the EWR, which is the Newark airport. So, we do have our planes here and there. However, I'm looking out my living room window and I constantly see a little something flying up.
Really?
And I'm like, no, what? That's not a UFO. What is that? And then I see on the news that there have been drones spotted throughout New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I'm thinking, I have a friend of mine. He has a license for a drone. He's always flying his drone. He's gone out of the country. He's taking some great pictures of the ocean here and there. Like people just have drones. But what is this about? Because now the FBI is involved, and they're trying to calm everybody down to say, like, Biden says, it's nothing. There's no danger here. Then I saw Trump made a comment, and they did ask him. They said,
Yeah, he didn't.
he said they asked him, have you received an intelligence briefing on drones? So Trump was even asked if he had received any intelligence briefing on the drones, and his comment was very cavalier. He said, I don't want to comment on that, and left it right at that, just to say, I don't have to speak about it. So next question. So there's no peace of mind over here with the whole drones.
Well, okay, so here's my theory on it. So first, just understanding what a drone is, right? They're used for surveillance, and they fly in the air, and you've been hearing all kind of reports that they're biggest cars and different things. So it's a couple of different things. This could be government surveillance, so they're out there basically monitoring the U.S. people, like we know that they do. This could be, what are the two countries? Is Russia or China out there trying to collect information and data and figuring out infrastructure? That could be a thing. This could be, we just talked about the wildfires in Maui and how investors and corporations are coming in and want to build these smart cities. So this could be a way of collecting information by private corporations, testing out their own drones and figuring out land, whatever they're doing. But then this could also be, and I've heard a theory, and it's not, look, you gotta consider everything and have discernment. So this could be a way of maybe causing some sort of outer space events, or getting the public perception, like trying to figure out, well, how do you feel if a drone is being flown over your house? Kind of the same way with COVID. Well, how do you feel if you've got a shelter in place and you got to stay inside? It sounds crazy, but could these drone sightings, be linked to some of these projects, these secretive governmental projects, to kind of figure out, manipulate the people? That's what I think.
Like this is a test.
Yeah.
Like could this be our everyday life of? Because I feel like we already know that there is major surveillance going on in and outside of our homes.
Right. And do you notice how people have gotten used to drones? I mean, 10 years ago, we never talked about what a drone. We didn't know what a drone was. They existed, but the average person did not own a flying aircraft to take pictures and hover over buildings.
You're right.
So now we are desensitized, almost, so to speak. Like it's become an everyday thing. And now they're getting bigger, in my opinion. Like now the drones are actually getting bigger in size.
Yeah, if you say it's as big as a car, what?
Yeah, very possible. So, and the idea of a drone is to collect information.
Right.
So, and I think it's so interesting that, well, I think Trump said, I heard him say he didn't want to speak on it, but he didn't say that he didn't know about it.
Nope.
He didn't know what this was about.
He didn't deny. He didn't deny it, nor did he agree. He just said, were you briefed on it? They want to know, were you briefed on it? And I don't want to comment on that anyway. So, like, wow, like thanks for the peace of mind. But I don't expect it from him or anybody else.
Yep. So we'll be watching. We just don't want any green men jumping out.
Because listen, like you said, it could be other countries just perusing through here. Because how easy would that be? Just as I'm sure, same way we're probably in other countries too. You watch Lioness.
Yeah. Great show, by the way. Great show.
Ooh, honey, I'm glad you got on board. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Yeah, it's happening. So, I'll let you know what it's looking like in these winter days, and we'll be looking at the sky.
Yeah, keep us posted.
Yeah, it's something going on. So, anywho.
Okay, moving on. Where we at?
Take us to the D. Take us to the D.
Scared of the dick. Now I throw lips to the shit. Handle it like a real bitch. Have the hunter. Janet Jack me. Take it in the bud. Yes, what?
Let me ask for forgiveness right now because I was not trying to make a gospel song out of that. But it sounded good though.
Okay. All right. So we are now at the weekend Z report. Okay. So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. And just again, we want to thank our listeners who send us their questions and looking for comments. And we're thankful for that. So this is from one of our listeners who basically she says she was dating this is her ex-fiance of like 10 years. And not long after he broke up with her, and she says, I find myself meeting him at hotels, and we regularly meet like at least once a week, and we go out, we spend time together. We're dating. The frustrating thing is he doesn't want to let me know where he lives. He says it's a comfort thing. He just wants his space. And it's been 1.5 years since our breakup. And anytime I ask about our situation, he says he doesn't know what he wants. So of all of the things he does for me, he shows me, he cares me, he loves about me, but it feels weird to me, like we're in this weird limbo because it's almost like he's stringing me along because he doesn't say if he ever wants to get back together. He says, why can't we just enjoy what we're doing? I want more with him and better than what we had before. We were in a bad place before and I didn't treat him well. I was going through things and I took it out on him. And in our time apart, and when we were no longer together, I worked on myself. I became healthier. I became happier. And I've really gotten my life on track. I love him very much. And I'm hoping for more. Any advice, Shatara?
Ooh. Well,
Go ahead.
it sounds like the D is good. Let's start with that. Let's look at the bright side of it. It sounds like you circled the block. Sounds like you were together for a long time. The red flag is him not wanting you to know where he lives for whatever reason. You're not a stalker. I believe that this is all consensual, good times that you're having. However, you might be a side piece. He may live with somebody and you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, get your head in the game, get out of there, shake it off. Give yourself a good cartoon. Shake it off, and and move on. I would definitely get out of this because this is going to get messier and stickier. It sounds like you were already together for a very long time.
Yeah, 10 years.
As a fiance?
That's crazy talk, but okay, to each his own.
So I told you I started in trouble at a comedy show when the couple were like, we're engaged for, and it was like, same old thing, like 9 years. And I just looked like, you know what? I'm hosting tonight. Let me, I want to get invited back. But anyway,
say it because it needs to be said.
I let her know, like, girl, don't you ever, like, do you want to be married? Yeah, I want to be married. I was like, well, then keep it moving. Like, somebody's playing with you. A man does not know what he wants to do. A man knows what he wants to do with your time the minute he gets with you. And I'm going to use the term, a man knows what he wants. Hence the saying, that's the girl that got away. At that time, he didn't know what he was doing. A man, he know what he's doing. He knows if he's going to play with you. He knows. I'm just trying to say. So, like, you are to be played with. He's like stringing your chords. And if you are really going to have a standard on your time and what you really want out of the relationship, then I think he's already showed you what he wants, and it's just in the bedroom.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's it. Unless you're here for the good time too. Hold on a minute. Unless you're here for the good time too, and you guys get on the same page with it. And sometimes that, men have egos. That'll piss them off. And I'm sure you've had your time where some men have been pissed off with you because you knew what it was. And it's like, I ain't stressing you for nothing else. Like, you are not, I couldn't even fathom seeing you for anything more. That's it. Put him in that position and you'll really see what it is. But if you are delving for more, you need to go.
I just have such strong opinions when it comes to this because like I said, I feel that as beautiful and as divine as we are as women, we are sometimes just not the smartest for ourselves, and we don't do things in our best interest. And this is like one of the moments. What got me first was that they had this over 10-year affair or whatever it was. It did not result in a marriage, but I'm looking at you, sis, like, you holding this man down, you giving him his energy, you are investing your energy, and then y'all broke up, but somehow he's still around. He's still in the mix. But now y'all are linking up in these clandestine places, going to hotels and you're going out on dates and acting like it's something when it's really not. But he's giving you just enough. So he's breadcrumbing you. And that's, you're not a mouse. You're not a what they call it, a church mouse. You want more.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's saying, he needs space. So when you do ask him and you put him on, give him that question, he says he needs space. And I'm like, well, space is for astronauts. If you want to put on your helmet and get out there and float up out the sky, then that's one thing. But that's not who you are. So grown men, in my opinion, they don't play house, like do that once a week thing. That's not what grown men do, as you said. This is not grown man energy. So if he was really into you, if he really loved you, he's not going to breadcrumb you. That's just what it is. And
Damn,
one
good.
of the things I want to point out to you, sis, is because you acknowledged that you're not a perfect person, that you've done some work on yourself and you had to like level up yourself, and through that you've become healthier, you've become happier. That's great. That's great. Those are the things that we have to do for ourselves. That's a boss move. And but you're sitting in this position where you're letting all of that work go to waste because you've gotten with this person who is not matching your energy, and it's not giving matching energy at all. And one of the things I always say is that your actions speak louder than your words. Let actions always speak louder than your words, but confusion screams the loudest. So what he's saying is that he doesn't know what he wants. That's what he's telling you, but he's expecting you to be that soft space, that comfort space for him. That's not love, that's convenience. So one of the great things, and for her is to point out, is that you're saying, I'm not the same woman I was before. So I have leveled up. So in that space, why are you accepting the situationship? Because you basically settled. If you say you want more, you're also causing that confusion because you're saying, I want more, but your actions are showing that you don't believe that you deserve more. So, I mean, it's you can see it. So it's time, it's time for her to like kind of, you ain't got to do one of my, you ain't got to worry about me. You ain't got to worry about me. Those stuff and go, because this it's like some of women, sometimes we do that. They do that where you get in these positions and with these men and it feels good for a little bit and you just like a high, it's Jay-Z did a song about it, like that little drug, that little high, little piece, right? Because you're looking for, hopefully you'll be that funny, that interesting, that loving, that caring female that'll win him over, right? So he might have said that that's not what he wants, but I'm gonna show him, and that's something we have within ourselves. We're looking to do those things so that man, when it comes to decision time, he'll decide that we're worthy of him. And that's backwards, because you need to decide if he's worthy of you.
There you go.
And that's about your self-worth. So until you get to that point and you answer that question for yourself, then you gonna always be in this. You was playing the number one position, and now you fiddle to your own damn self.
Yeah, you did this to you.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So, honey, baby, darling,
it's
sweetie.
a little naive. There's a little naive there because,
and we've all been there. There's a naivety. We've all been there though. So it's not no judgment, no, but judgment, because
you asked.
You know that you deserve more, then you know that you're not worthy of this and he's not worthy of you. And dick is good. We get dickmatized. See, we get in these situations and we be all dickmatized and can't see and I can't sleep without you. To the windows, to the wall. Get up out. Get up out. Because that'll keep you in a low vibrational place. And like she's saying, I'm leveled up, I'm vibed up. Well, let the man that's in your atmosphere, let him match that energy. If that's truly what it is, if you truly leveled up, then your man is a whole leveled up man, not that one.
And the guy, I feel like, is self-esteem, confidence, and standards. When a woman has those three things, that is your guide. That
Mhm.
is a big teller how you deal with men, how you let men deal with you, and how you move.
Mhm.
It is, and I humbly say we all play the fool sometime. I'm not saying I'm above, anything that comes with, self-learning and insight and relationships and so on. I got some stories. However, let that self-esteem be your guide, because when you lack it, then that's telling too.
Right.
Standards too. When you lack it, that's telling too. Confidence, when you lack it, it's telling too.
Right.
So, that's it. Just having to ask a question, that said a lot about confidence already.
Absolutely. So, sis, run.
Wrap up, wrap it up, wrap this. Listen, I'm like clapping, like, all right, everybody, wrap this up, wrap this up.
Yeah, please.
Put those sheets in the wash machine. Come on, wrap this up. This is over. Blow that candle out right now. Wrap this up.
Mm-mm.
Come on.
Yeah, it's time. It's sister's time. So, I hope I know we gave her some good advice, but will she take it? Will you
Yeah,
take it?
do it. Yeah, hope she does. I mean, and then like I always say, the Hudson River is big, but I mean, come on. You know how many waters we have in the world? There's so
Mhm.
many fish in the sea.
Yeah,
Come
truly.
on.
Especially
Come
like you
on.
already had this one.
Throw that fish. It's probably trout. Throw it back.
With the catfish.
Fish. Throw it back. And it was good for what it was, and just leave it. Just, you don't want to tell me where you live? Well, fuck you too. That's how I would have been. Straight up. Pump, pump. I'm going home.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay. Wow.
I wish you would. I want you to know where I live. Well, listen here, John Gotti. Unless you on the run or something. Say, but why now I'm really not trying to be involved, because now that's shaky and shady, don't you think?
Yep.
All right, let me stop.
Okay. I think we
Find out where he lives and write us back.
we say this with love though, and from experience. I want her to know that.
Yeah.
Love with love and from a place of experience.
Yeah, he's back with his mom, so of course you don't want to tell you. Huh?
Sorry.
Get me out of here.
Homeboy's couch. That's why.
He's sleeping with the fishes.
He never got it together after he left you, because she's probably the best thing that happened to him.
Even at your worst, girl, you have no idea. Right. He was probably the best. I got myself together. No, you was probably you had you at your best. You didn't even know it.
Let Drake
Right.
tell it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You the best. You didn't even know it. You over here, I'm better now. Girl, you was probably the come up. And now he thinks he's the shit. That's how that table goes. I don't want to tell you where I live. What? You better kick his cardboard box and be like, go home.
All right. We say this with love.
Remember how you go to Sears and get a copy of his keys? Tell him I went there and there's no copies of your keys. You're homeless. I'm just shits and giggles, honey. I'm just here for the shits and giggles. Don't mind me.
Oh gosh.
Made for a good jokey joke. That's all.
All right. Okay. Moving on.
All right. So now I'm gonna look at my neighbor now, real funny, side eye, like, there's a jam.
Okay.
So it's my jam. So it's my jam, right? It's my jam.
Yes.
Okay, making sure.
That's my jam too,
So
but I like it too.
okay, so this I have to say, like, sometimes I have jams and I have to check, like, how old was I when this came out? Because I did karaoke with my best friend here for her birthday, and like an MC Light song came on, and like there were certain songs. She's like, oh, I don't know all the words of this, and I knew all the words, and I was like, she was trying to say this was before our time, but my point was like, I was really tuned into hip hop because
of me.
yeah, I knew. Anyway, so this one here, I was basically Brand Nubians, Slow Down, 1991. All right. Let's just put it like this. I was a kid. That's all I'm going to tell you. I was a kid. And I remember, I mean, this song was just slow down. Brand Nubian. we have Grand Poobah, Lord Jamar, and Sadat X, and they were the trio that made Brand Nubian. And this was just a jam. And I remember I just knew Grand Poobah's verse. I knew all their verses, and this is just a jam. And I remember asking our mother. He has a verse. He says, "I knew this girl named Tropicana. She's always juicing." And I asked mommy. I was like, "What does that mean? She's always juicing?" And mommy was just like, "It's just not a good thing, okay?" Producing cash for a sexual task. I was like, oh shit. I mean, he talked about his sneakers being stolen, and he knew where he hid them because he hid them behind his speakers. I mean, so yeah, slow down.
Oh, man.
Hey, baby, your hips is getting thick. Yeah, that's it.
Man, so, this is just an era for me. I love this era. And
don't you?
I always got a story. So Grand Poobah used to come up to my campus, and he dated my roommate back in the day. So I have some stories. I'll save them. Okay. But good dude, and
please do.
Very interesting. Yeah. What? You said please do what?
Just have good things to say. That's not. We just want to have good things to say.
He was funny. He was comical. He's a funny dude. And I actually saw Brand Nubian perform maybe within the last year. So there's like a series of these like old school bringing them back in Miami. So that was really cool. They're still out there, still on the road. And when you think about it, to me, I when I listen to myself talking about the music back then, because I'm like, it was so much more conscious and it had messages, and I don't know if the music today is even like that, because a lot of the tone of what he was talking about was basically like, people making decisions and like messing up their lives, and different stories that have happened in the hood of people that as it relates to drugs and selling your body. And that's what a lot of Slow Down, that's what it was really about, like slow down,
Yep. And what I also love about this time was that hip hop was somewhat fun. It had a lot more substance to it. And not to say everything had to be so conscious rap, but conscious rap was pretty cool. Like when they sing about slow down and drugs, and this one's stealing from you, and this one has an addiction,
and wrapping it up, and not having unprotected sex, like
right. They had just, their wordplay was so great, and then it had nothing to do with. Don't get me wrong, they love the booming system and the cars, but it really wasn't champagne popping and flossing the way it is, the way that hip hop had evolved to be. You get what, like, at that point.
Yeah, we went. I mean, the
and I like that
party phase, as I like to call it now. Looking back,
what did you say? They went through what?
For the white party phase. So this was actually the music of. It was fun, it was educational, it was fun. We had it could be dirty, it could be playful, but it was more about the griot, the new age griot, the storyteller. And so a lot of our music was more about telling stories, right?
It was fun. Yeah, look, that Slick Rick was the man for all of it. Yeah, absolutely. Storytelling. That's exactly what they did.
And I loved, I loved that part of it. So Brand Nubian was like very important to
one for all.
My growing up time. I think they came from New Rochelle. They called it like Nauru, the Nauru place. It was good. It was a good time.
And then I just think of look at the clothes. So I remember wallabies, or maybe like a polo boot with like the buckle on the side, guys would wear, or sneakers, of course. And then they would wear, let's say, jeans and a belt on their waist and tuck in a button-up shirt, if not a rugby.
Or you got some Afrocentric clothing in there.
A medallion, yes.
The kufi, the African medallion, the kufi hats. I mean,
it was a different type of togetherness, that I feel like it was there. We weren't about drip. We weren't, and we're all growing with hip hop, but this was just a time. So I was young, I was a kid, and I was listening to lyrics clearly. I would ask questions. Hey, what's that mean right there? Yeah, I was listening, and I knew when somebody had skills. I knew how to tap into that, and this was definitely a song where I still turn up to this day.
I love it. I still love it. Still love it. And they were pretty militant even for that time. I would think.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadat X, Lord Jamar,
Mm-hmm.
and Grand Poobah.
So
Oh,
Doogie, is you with me?
good,
Yeah.
good one, good one. Yeah, that was my joint.
And yeah, it was when I tell you like instruments, you can break them all down. You hear it all. It was
Oh,
good.
wait, well,
What you got?
no, there was a line. I'm just saying. He said, "Come on, Toots, you could take 1,000."
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got
Still pass. Oh my gosh.
it's so funny, but he was talk. Let me tell you, he was a shit talker for
And
real.
Kubo was an old head back then. So can you imagine?
Was he really? He was just like a little chubby. He was like a chubby Teddy Ruxpin
Yeah, he was. Come on, that was my line. That
with
was
his with his little part and his glasses. He wore his glasses.
yeah. Ooh, perfect, perfect.
Your little hooker. Now, did he say you little booger or you little hooker?
I think both, depending on what station he's listening. He said, "Honey got the problem with the bends, meaning she liked to
Like to
bend
bend
over."
over, and then she spreads the skins. Now, what makes it? I mean, I knew these
Oh, and
words.
just a hoe, and that's without no controversy. She could make a whisper, sing a
Sing a
song.
song of mercy. Once I was like, so imagine as I got older, I kept listening. The song just never went out of style. So as I just start to just learn what everything was meaning, was like, oh my god, this is funny. This is comedy. This is lyrical comedy. Oh my god, she can make
A bed
a
spring,
bed
sing a
spring,
song
sing a
of
song of mercy.
mercy.
No, how about she has a problem with the bends. Me, she likes to spread over, and she she spreads the skins. Good times.
Good times. Okay.
Thanks for that. Okay.
Oh, now. Well, my sister Shatara, we have come to the end, and we've
Wah.
actually completed another year of That's What I'm Saying, the
Woo!
podcast.
You guys hear the applause? Woo!
It's amazing, right? Amazing. And it would not be without our listeners
Mm-hmm.
who, keep us going. It's just, and it's amazing. Sometimes I'll go somewhere and, especially because we do the show, but I'll get from someone, a friend or someone who happens to be, yeah, listen, like when you coming out with another show. So I think we're going to endeavor to be more consistent
Mm-hmm.
bi-weekly. So bi-weekly shows coming out, and it won't be as long as this one, but this was our year end, wrapping up the year 2024. But it's been gorgeous and it's been beautiful. And I just want to thank you, my sister, for making this and keeping this just so fun. I get to do something that is so enjoyable with my sister. So what better place can it be? And I get a place to express myself, and we laugh, and
Reminisce.
there are tears, and we reminisce, and it's a beautiful platform for me, and I hope for you as well, and I hope for our listeners out there. And with that, I want to continue.
Amen to that. Very well said. Ditto.
Mm.
Ditto, biatch. Ditto. You my boo. Ditto.
So look, y'all, we have come to the end of 2024, but you can
Mm-hmm.
subscribe to That's What I'm Saying. We're going to keep it going with the podcast and the TV show.
Yes, we
You can listen
will.
to us on iTunes and Google and SoundCloud and iHeartRadio and YouTube as well. And you can watch That's What I'm Saying, the TV show. Just download the Island TV app. You can follow us on Instagram at TwistPod. And Shatara, what else do you want everybody to know?
I want y'all to know that we are grateful for y'all closing out this year. As my sister did say, that it wouldn't even be possible without y'all. So if you're still listening out there, again, thank you so much. And if you have a question for the Weekend D report, we like to give the good advice. If you want to advertise with us, and if you want to keep up to date with all my upcoming comedy shows, because I bring the funny and I keeps it funny. You know what you do? You get social with us. DM us on Instagram or on Twitter. And as always, thank y'all. and we'll see you in the new year.
Stay healthy, stay well. God bless y'all.
Yeah. Hey, hit records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo?